All right, thank you guys. Wow, I still see a lot of empty space here on the front. Why don't we grab together to the front? To the audience who is sitting at the corner, probably you can sit on the front, then we can have a more close contact. All right? Cool. I hope you enjoy the lunch. Let's get started. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to the CoCreate afternoon section. Before I get started, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm DP. I'm responsible for the logistics network development of Alibaba.com. Okay, so in the next 20 minutes, we are going to discuss the topic of optimizing your logistics experience. So we are going to cover 3 key topics. As a starting point, we will share some of the customer voices in terms of fulfillment and see what are the pain points when they are doing the global B2B business. And next, we are going to elaborate on Alibaba.com logistics, who we are and what we do. And the last piece is very exciting because we are going to launch some new product features. We are going to share some new product features and see how these product features can really help you to transform your supply chain. All right, so let's get started. The first one is the customer voices, right? So before I move to the next slide, let's take a very quick guess. So how much percentage of the exceptions and the disputes are related to the logistics fulfillment in the past 1 year? Let's just take a very general guess. Cool. So moving to the next slide. Actually, you can see the number is 50. Over 50% of the disputes are happening during the logistics fulfillment side, right? So if we look into the global trading journey, from the order confirmation to the final receipt, actually it takes 3 main segments, right? For example, such as the before dispatch, the transit in shipping, and also the final order received. You know, we usually define the first 2 steps are related to the logistics and the fulfillment. And you can see most of the details can be categorized under 2 parts. The first one is the shipping cost, and the next one is the delivery time. So you can see some of the exceptions happens like the shipping cost deviation, the wrong shipping mode, or some schedule delays, etc., right? And also on top of that, we still have another 16% of the disputes coming after the product received. But you can see all of them basically involve on the product quality issues. So, you know, what does this number really means, right? So you can see apparently the global B2B e-commerce business is a very, very complex industry, right? In terms of the logistics processes, exception management, the cost prediction, sometimes it's not really predictable, something like this. So that's why Alibaba.com, we always use a lot of technology and we want to solve all the problems as much as possible by leveraging our product features. Cool. So Alibaba.com logistics, we have been well established in the past 7 years. So as you can see, we have already built up an end-to-end global network from the different origins to the global destinations. So you can see on the first mile part, we have cooperated with a lot of different express companies, courier companies, the truckers. So we provide the pickup services from supplier store. And on the main freight part, we also have cooperated with different ocean carriers, airlines, and also the railway operators to build up the port-to-port connection. And on the last mile part, we also have the different service categories, including various transportation modes, such as the express mode, or the trucking services, including cartage, drayage, FTL, LTL, etc. And also we have some intermodal railway operations to connect the end-to-end part as well. So you can see on the scale side, we've already built up a very mature and global infrastructure network. So we cover over 220 plus different countries and regions. And also on the scale-wise, we are serving over 1.1 million buyers and helping them to deliver over 4 million packages on an annual basis. Right. Cool. So how do we position ourselves, right? So how do we really create the values to our customers? So this is something we really want to dig into. So as I just mentioned right now, so the global B2B e-commerce business is very complex, right? Because of the multiple uncertainties. For example, we have a lot of demand and supply chains changing very dynamically, such as the ocean freight, air freight market, And we also have a lot of trade tax policies changing from time to time. So all of these fluctuations create a lot of uncertainties, right? So in Alibaba.com, we have a very comprehensive product features, and we already productize our logistics product as much as possible. For example, taking the cost as a reference, so our smart shipping cost tool is already able to automatically calculate all the shipping costs based on the SKU level. So which means we can always translate the very complex logistics pricing structure into the per SKU, per MOQ, per pieces level. Then you guys, when you search, you can always see a bunch of the bundle costs together, which is including the product cost as well as the shipping cost. Then you can always make an easy deal when it refers to the sourcing stage, right? And on the delivery side, we have the on-time delivery guarantee service. We already cover over 170 countries and destinations. So in case you guys have any, shipment delays, we will also have amount of the compensation to cover the buyer's benefits as well. And the last part is also very important. That is regarding for the track and trace service. So right now we have already covered over 100% of the total shipment can be trackable on our platform, which means we can always provide the end-to-end visibility to make sure every buyer, you guys can always check online about your shipment status to make sure that's well secured. All right. Cool. So as Ko mentioned in the morning, right? So our goal and our aiming is always to help our buyers to constantly improve and simplify your sourcing experience by a lot of our innovations. So in this section, I'm going to share with you some kind of the product features we are going to launch and give you more elaborations in the next couple of the months, right? So as you can see, right? So as the global biggest B2B platforms, so Alibaba.com, we all know each sourcing, procurement, and also, the life cycle have a very organic growth for each buyer, right? So you can see if you guys wanna procure a bunch of the iPhone 16 cases from China and resell them in the US market, so how do you do it, right? At the very beginning, you usually source some product as a sample orders through Alibaba.com. Then at the very beginning, maybe you pretty much care about the product quality as well as the delivery time frame, right? So the demand is always the speed in terms of the delivery. Then after that, as long as you receive this product, you already build up some confidence, and maybe the next generation is you want to build up some solid sales pipelines and also the user tools. So maybe you will order another batch of the shipment one by one. So at this moment, you still want a faster delivery time, but you also want to get a cost control that more carefully, right? Then gradually, as long as you have already built up a very solid user network and also the foundations in the US side, maybe you will start to bunch the batch of the cargo as a gradual practices. So this is always the purchasing activities, right? So by the end of the day, ultimately, we believe all the care is more about the cost. It is not only about the product cost, but also the shipping cost as well. So that is the general procurement life cycle looks like. And we believe it happens every day in your sourcing scenarios. So how it looks like in the logistics side, right? So on the logistics side, we also have fully associating our solutions, pairing with all these sourcing scenarios in parallel as well. For example, at the very beginning, we are transporting, your sample orders through the courier service via the parcel service, right? You can see you will get the fastest delivery speed, but also on the same time, the cost is also the highest. Then gradually, as long as your order is getting bigger and bigger, we will also have the optimal scenarios matching with your sourcing activity as well. For example, we will use the air freight services, we will use the premium ocean services, we will also use some trucking services to connect the last mile as well. So that is also the package of the logistics solution looks like. Okay. And last, you can see from this map, our shipping fees and delivery time, along with the sourcing activities together, they are also showing the dynamic curves as well, which means as long as the shipping fee is getting lower and lower, our transit time is also getting longer and longer because we know the different shipping times have a different delivery schedule as well. Cool. So on top of these fundamental features, I'm also going to share some exciting new features we are going to launch in the next couple of the months. So the first one is the combined orders, right? So the key function of these combined orders is we want to have the 2B users experience as the same as the 2C users shop online. For example, on the system-wise, our smart shipping calculation is already be able to give you the most optimal shipping solutions based on the combination of the total order size, the total weight, and the total dimensions together. Then physical-wise, we will have our centralized warehouse, for example, in China, Shenzhen, right? Then we consolidate all the packages into one pack. Then make sure all the delivery to your hand is on the same delivery window. So that is a physical plus a system combination. As you can see from this demo, right? It's very easy and direct. So as long as the buyer, you pick up all the purchase orders together, then put them on the cart. Then after that, you can click all of them and select all. So you can check out. Then the system will give you guys a reminder saying, hey, you will get a certain discount on the shipping cost because this is a win-win solution for everybody, right? Cool. The next one is also some new exciting infrastructure we are going to launch. So in the phase one, Alibaba.com logistics, we are going to cooperate with a lot of famous brands, the warehouse partners, to launch our warehousing footprint and facilities in both West Coast and East Coast. So I think there are a lot of benefits we can bring, right? So the first one is we really can have our sellers to keep a certain level of the inventory in these warehouses, right? Which means our buyers can always get a faster delivery as well as lower cost because all of the categories, we selected, then we can ship them domestically in the US. And you can enjoy such as 2 to 5 days delivery as Cole mentioned in this morning. And also, on the technology side, we will also have a lot of integration with these warehouse partners to make sure you can get the real-time inventory data, and you can also get the track and trace for each single shipment as well. So the last piece is about our, bulk capabilities enhancement, and it is very fit for our specific product industry, such as industrials, tractors, machinery, equipment, and also some big-size furniture industry as well. For example, such as the sofa or beds. So the experience is also very straightforward, right? For example, you can see from this demo, when you visit the commodity details page, our smart shipping tool is already able to tell you, hey, this is the total ocean freight plus trucking service based on the SKU level. Then you guys can always get a general sense of the cost indication, including both product as well as the shipping, right? When you make some budget on your annual plans, you can always refer to this page and quickly calculate what exactly the total cost looks like. And after you confirm the orders with the transaction orders, then there will be a chat box automatically pump up. Then that will direct you communicate with the great logistics partners, for example, Maersk. Then you guys can always talk online to check with the booking details, to check with the cargo details, to make sure all of the delivery orders and also the other logistic details can be well secured and aligned. So this is something we are going to launch by the end of this year. It's very exciting. Cool. All right, that's all for the overview section. And again, Alibaba.com logistics, we are always working very closely to optimize your supply chain by our best logistics solutions. And we always want to simplify your trading and sourcing experience by having our competitive cost, the guaranteed delivery service, and the full trackability through our platforms. Okay, thank you. Thank you for this section. Thank you for joining. So next one, we are going to have the very exciting panel. Let me invite Lina, John, Rachel, myself again, and Ikun to the stage. Thanks. Yeah, me again. Let me do a quick self-introduction again. I'm DP and responsible for the logistics network development of Alibaba.com.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Webb. I'm the COO of Honeybug. We are an e-commerce retailer that specializes in baby shower gifts. And if you heard Jen talk this morning, one of our prized parts of our business is our Honeybug gift box, and we source that through Alibaba.com.
Good afternoon, and I'm John from TWTH Express. And during the last 15 years, we have been dedicated to providing the end-to-end shipping solution from China to North America. So it's my pleasure to be here today.
So, hello everyone. I'm Lina from Portfolio Logistics. I'm a marketing director, and we are one of the logistic partner of Alibaba.com. I'm very happy to meet you guys here today.
Great. Thank you everyone for joining this panel discussion. Today we are going to focus on cross-border supply chains. And I think as everyone here would have experienced, especially in the past few years, there have been unprecedented uncertainties, disruptions, and operational challenges in this area. So throughout this session, we are hoping to discuss some of the main challenges and how we at Alibaba.com Logistics are helping to ease or address these challenges. And as you can see, we have presented on the background some of the key questions, and I hope by the end of this session you'll get some good understanding or some insights about how what our perspectives are on these topics. So without further ado, let's get started. I would like to bring our buyer representative, Rachel. Rachel, as the Chief Operating Officer for Honeybug, I wonder what is your overall experience with logistics and any key challenges you faced in this area as you have extensive responsibility for global sourcing and logistics operations?
Yeah, of course. So we've worked with Alibaba for about 4 years now. Like I mentioned, our packaging. We also do our own footies, bids, things of that nature. And two key issues we always struggle with are predictability of shipping costs, as well as visibility of tracking once our shipments leave our suppliers' warehouses, especially as it pertains to ocean freight. So those are the two biggest challenges.
Nice. Great. Thank you for sharing. And I think that is very consistent with what we have observed in terms of logistics pain points, especially with small to medium-sized businesses. Now let me ask you, DP, at Alibaba.com, as a sourcing platform, how are we working to address some of the issues that Rachel just mentioned? Can you just give us, first of all, an overview of our key strategies and approach?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Yikun. As Yikun, you just mentioned right now, so Alibaba.com, right, we are a sourcing platform, right? So we provide a lot of this kind of the procurement activities and also the opportunities. So on the Alibaba.com logistics, right, so we also want to use our technology to help our customers, buyers, or even sellers to solve all the logistic problems instead of having a lot of manpower involvement. So this is the key, right? And also, as I mentioned right now, we have already productized a lot of logistics features. And on the other side, Alibaba.com logistics, we are having an open marketplace and build up this ecosystem, which is having a lot of logistics partners on this ecosystem. So that's why we also have Lina and John joining us today.
Great, thank you for sharing. I think those are certainly consistent again with what my understanding and our US team's objectives are at Alibaba.com Logistics. Now move on to a few key aspects of cross-border shipping. I want to start with logistics cost. Rachel, as you know, pricing plays a critical role in any business decisions. I wonder what is your perspective on how fluctuation in shipping costs in the past few years are impacting your sourcing decisions, and how are you balancing your cost considerations with service expectations?
Yes, so no matter how big a business is, cash flow is one of the most important things that you try to manage on a day-to-day basis. And there's such volatility in shipping costs that it can be kind of challenging to budget, to be honest. And so as we work with our suppliers, we talk with them about different ways that we can ship product. So we might balance, a small shipment up front via air to get it quickly, or we might take, ocean freight, for example, to lessen the shipping cost over a longer period of time. We also work with our suppliers on sort of longer buying patterns. So instead of saying, we want it all right up front right now, we might smooth that out over the course of a year. And we found the suppliers to be very communicative and very helpful in allowing us to sort of set up what makes the most sense for our own budget, so that way we can try to get ahead of it. But it has been extremely volatile, to your point.
Absolutely, that's very insightful. Thank you, Rachel. So DP, having heard what Rachel shared again, can you talk a little bit about how we at Alibaba.com Logistics are achieving competitive pricing and at the same time providing our customers with transparency when it comes to logistics cost?
Yeah, sure. So like Rachel just mentioned right now, right? So it cares about the pricing, validity, and also the certainties as well, right? So on the Alibaba.com logistics side, first we have a very strong technology and platforms, so which means we can always calculate automatically about all the shipping costs and show to our customers, which means, for example, you mentioned it when you make the budget, right? So when you make the annual financial budget, you can always see, hey, this is my total spending on both product and shipping, because we have already give you some general ideas of what you are going to spend, right? And on the structure side, we also have the different categories based on the different sourcing matrix. For example, we have the air services, express services. We also have the ocean services. We categorize them into the different service level, which means you can always find the most optimal shipping solutions based on your need, with a certain transit time attached as well.
Great, great. Yes, I think that makes a lot of sense. And let me also bring our representatives from our service providers, Lina and John. I wonder what are your viewpoint on this and how your companies working with Alibaba.com are helping to manage cost expectations of e-commerce customers like Rachel, and also if you have any broader approach you want to talk about in terms of managing your service quality.
Thank you, Ikun, for asking. So both Rachel and DP have addressed how crucial it is for us to offer a cost-effective, efficient, and transparent logistics, and to offer a competitive price. I think we mainly spend efforts on three parts. So first of all, we spend our efforts in maintaining a good relationships with our source providers, so they can help us to have a better price even when the market conditions change. And secondly, based on our years of experience in logistics, we understand our customer needs. So that's why we don't just rely on direct flight. We also create non-direct flight as an option for the customer, which has a more competitive price. And the last part I want to share is our team. So we have many industry veterans that were from big brands. So they have a very strong sense on the market price, and they have a thorough understanding of various routes and airlines. So with this expertise, we are able to offer a better price and a better service for Alibaba.com.
Thanks, Lina. So actually, Lina has listed all the most important points. So to add to that quickly, I just want to say that the scale is the key factor, because the large volume shipment from Alibaba.com can help us to get the better rates from the shipping lines, airlines, also the last mile delivery service provider. It's very helpful. Besides, I think during this time, the customs and compliance knowledge is quite so critical, because to dealing with the international trade regulations smoothly can avoid extra costs and delays. So I think this will be helpful to answer your question.
Great, they certainly do. Thank you, Lina and John. I would reiterate that at Alibaba.com Logistics, we are both very strict in terms of setting up our provider selection, working with logistics partners, but we also have an open ecosystem so that whoever can provide the best services for SMB customers of our platform, we are very engaged with them to work together. So Rachel, what is your reaction hearing what DP and our service provider representatives have shared so far? Do you think they are adequate or to a certain extent address the concerns that you have, or do you have any other expectations?
Yeah, so I think largely they addressed a lot of the issues. I think more visibility to the buyers is ultimately the most helpful. So whether that's more data, more cost information, what have you, that really helps us save time and money on our side, trying to plan out some of our shipments. I will say we did have an issue with one of our shipments getting stuck in customs for a couple of weeks, and that's very hard to navigate by yourself. And so I think some of those things that John mentioned could be incredibly helpful for buyers as they try to navigate this, especially if it's their first or second shipment.
Yeah, absolutely. I would echo that. Sometimes it may be an area that was being overlooked, but customs compliance really has a big impact on your supply chain. You have to make sure that you are acting according to the regulations for cross-border movement of goods, so that there's no tentative delays or even suspensions of your shipment into the country. So great, thank you, Rachel. Let's move on to the next topic, which is timely delivery. I think that is a big topic and especially a critical aspect in this fast-paced market condition. So Rachel, I would like to ask you again first, how big or how important a role that plays when it comes to timely delivery as you consider the potential suppliers you want to work with from overseas especially, and do you have any expectations or experience in that regard, for example, any delays or challenges you faced in this area?
Yeah, so delivery timelines are probably the #1 thing that we use when we plan out our entire marketing calendar for the year. So especially if you think about seasonal products or around the holidays, we build entire marketing campaigns, entire product launches around the timing of when certain product will arrive at our warehouse. And so if that's delayed a week, a couple of days, that really changes things internally, like, oh, we can't put that on the website now, or what have you. And so for us, working with suppliers that have reliable delivery times is incredibly important, and reliable shipping times as well. We look at the reviews, we do test shipments, we try to do everything we can to mitigate the risk related to those shipments, but it's not 100% all the time, right? So I think having the ranges, having more visibility would be incredibly, incredibly helpful.
Absolutely. I think what you voiced is the concern, or one of the biggest concerns for many of our customers. So DP, and on this point, can you share how Alibaba.com Logistics is utilizing our network and infrastructure capability to ensure that we have timely delivery services for our customers, and how we are working to align with the expectations from our customers like Rachel.
Sure, thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Rachel. I think the delivery time is always a very crucial factor, right? We are running the logistics and trading. So I think I can talk through the different angles. The first one is really about the product features, because from the user experience-wise, right, when you're navigating through our platforms, you can always see the product and the logistics shipping solutions, right? And under that category, you can always see we have 3 different layers. For example, we have the premium service, we have the economic service, we have also the standard service. So each service category you can refer to a certain level of the estimated delivery date. So that means it can always help you to make the budget, or help you to give a general sense when my cargo will be delivered for your seasonal promotion purposes, right? So this is the first one. And on the secondly, we have the fulfillment services, which is really physically move your cargo, right? And on this side, we have the Alibaba guaranteed service. So our on-time delivery guarantee can really protect this kind of the benefits and also interest from our buyers. For example, in case there is any delayed shipment, so Alibaba guarantee program can always give you a compensation in case there is really a delay. So that is 2 things we are doing. And on top of that, we also have some new infrastructure launch. As I just mentioned, we have the local warehouse deployment, which can also squeeze the local warehouse delivery time up to 2 to 5 days.
Great. Thank you, DP, for sharing that. I think we're certainly not in this journey alone. We also work with our logistics partners. So John, I would like to bring you into this conversation. As a logistics partner of Alibaba.com, can you share a bit about how your company has been supporting these initiatives, and as DP mentioned, in terms of our new warehousing programs or services, if there's any specific initiative your company are engaging to help our customers?
Sure, thanks for asking. So to support the time frame, I think there are many ways we can do. From the China side, I think the ability to do the consolidation is very important, because we have to make sure all the shipments will catch the next available flight or the vessel. So, but from when the cargo move to the US side, actually we are supported by utilizing the warehouse in US to support the time frame. we are using different types of warehouse. For example, for the door-to-door order, when Rachel placed the first order to the factory, you need to go through the door-to-door from the factory in China to the address of the US buyer. Then we will use a cross-dock transshipment warehouse, which should be quite so near to the port or airport. So it can reduce the time for the cargo pickup from the airline or the container pickup and depending in the warehouse and hand over to the last mile delivery service provider. So for the air freight shipment, we can reach the inbound and outbound processing within 4 hours. That's the extreme speed. And besides, we have the CFS and the bonded area in our cross-dock warehouse. I mean, we have a customs license US, so this kind of area and facility can support more complicated orders, such as a Type 86 entry. We can save the time and also to save the money, the tax and duty legally. So, besides, for the local order, as DP mentioned, we will launch the new fulfillment center in the US. Then for the repeat orders and the urgent stock replenishment, when you sold out, then you get within 3 days and 5 days. Through this kind of warehouse, I think we have to use the data-driven process and technology integration to achieve the target. So our system like the OMS, TMS, and the WMS system should analyze the data from the customer orders, demand trends, and even the delivery performance. So we can forecast the peak period and allocate enough resources in advance to optimize our operation. So I think above mentioned could be helpful to answer the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I think that certainly highlights the strong capabilities of TWTH Logistics, and I think we are, with many other logistics partners, working very closely to serve our customer needs. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is visibility. Yet another big challenge in terms of cross-border shipping, especially because I think our, as consumers ourselves, we are so used to having a lot of transparency and visibility when we are ordering from B2C smaller orders. But when it comes to B2B and when it involves cross-border movement of goods, it's certainly a much more complex and cumbersome process, which will make this much more challenging than in the B2C context. So let me ask you, Rachel, what is your experience or viewpoint or expectations on the visibility part of cross-border shipping?
Yeah, so this is a big one for us. I think that the more visibility on tracking we can get, the better. I'll say one of the first times we made a large order to ship via ocean freight, we didn't quite know the level of tracking that we would have or not have. And so I personally was pinging our supplier almost daily, like, hey, do you have any updates? What are you seeing? Like, we can't see anything. Nothing's updating. What's happening? And it was very stressful for us. And so we then moved on to working with a freight forwarder of our own so we could have visibility, but that's also very costly. And so having visibility directly from Alibaba, I think, would be huge and would alleviate a lot of concern on our end, especially for our larger shipments, because again, you're putting a lot of your own cash at risk by placing these larger orders, and then to almost be in the dark for a month or two, depending on how you're shipping it, it's very scary when it's your first time.
Absolutely, I certainly hear you, and that is, again, as I mentioned, a very big challenge, but I'm glad to report that at Alibaba.com Logistics, we are making great stride in this area. So, DP, can you share a bit about what our existing tools are to help our customers tackle this issue? And given that this is an area of constant development, what if there are any future plans to further enhance our capability in this area?
Yeah, sure. Let me share some kind of the insights we are going to launch and also talk about what existing product features, as you can just mention, right? So as a starting point, I can confirm 100% of the shipments can be fully transparent as a track and trace service on our platforms. So for example, when you place orders through the Alibaba.com, you can always bundle this transaction order with the shipping logistics order together. Then you can always check all the milestones from the origin, suppliers' warehouses or supplier's factory to the final mile destination, final delivery, right? So it's including such as warehouse inbound and outbound milestones, the actual ATD, ATA, and the final delivery time frame. So this is already exist in our PC platforms. And on top of that, I'm also going to share some exciting new features we are going to launch as well. So by the end of this year, we are also going to launch the mobile app feature as well. So which means as long as you open the mobile app, you can always check the shipment status with the same experience as online platforms. So that is easy, and also you can do it anywhere at any time. Okay.
Great. Thank you. Those are certainly exciting and meaningful upgrades in this area, and I hope more customers of ours will be aware and be able to utilize those new functions. But Lina, from an industry perspective, can you share a bit about how you are viewing or what you are doing in terms of helping customers increase their visibility into their shipments? Are there any technological or operational upgrades or innovations you are implementing in order to improve your customer experience, especially for our US market?
Yeah, thank you. And for me personally, I usually go with online shopping as well. So as a customer, what I care most about is the status of my tracking, right? And I want to know where my package is and when it will arrive. So based on the experience I have, we as a logistics partner, we try our best to provide a transparent and seamless tracking for the customers who feel the same way as me. So in order to do so, I think the first part I want to talk about is our system. So we spent years to develop our own system that was supported by an experienced and strong IT team and integrated with international logistic networks. So that means when the package arrives at our 15 domestic warehouses, the customer can easily track their package until delivered. And the second part is that this year we upgrade our system by adding AI tools into our warehouse operating system. So that means the system can automatically spot any issues going to happen during the process and report them to us, and we can solve them quickly as soon as possible. So I think that could minimize any impact that could happen during the process and our service. And with the AI tools and our automated warehouse operating system, we are able to update the shipping data to the Alibaba.com without any manual intervention. So that means we can offer a better and more efficient service for the customers.
Great. Thank you, Lina. I think all of us are looking forward to seeing the innovations and solutions in practice. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, which is logistics service quality. Rachel, we all know that a customer experience and support can make or break a deal or our customer's experience. So I wonder, what are your biggest concerns as a buyer of Alibaba.com when it comes to logistics service quality? For example, in terms of handling damaged goods or lost shipments, what type of protections or guarantees you're looking to obtain from a platform or marketplace like ours?
Yes, so I think ultimately delivery times are a huge one. For us, we order a lot of things that are in corresponding sets. So for example, if a box of footies arrives, but the matching bib doesn't arrive, that's a problem for us and we can't launch our full total product. And so partial shipments or lost shipments are a big concern of ours. In terms of product damages, I don't know that we've had an experience with damaged product, knock on wood. But I think at the end of the day, having some reassurances from Alibaba would be super helpful. If I think about it from our own business standpoint, if a customer loses their gift, or it says it was delivered but it wasn't there, we work with the customers ourselves to make sure that they feel like their experience was that they were made whole. And so I think the same is true of my expectation for our service providers through Alibaba. And the suppliers that we've worked with, if anything has been partially delayed or what have you has been great. Communication has been the most important thing to us. But I think some sort of compensation or replacement product, things of that nature could be super helpful as well.
Absolutely, we certainly hear you and makes a lot of sense. I think that is, again, in our experience, one of the big reasons many customers come to use our platform because they believe that we will be able to provide them with additional layers of protection. So DP, can you now talk a little bit about what existing measures we have in place to safeguard our buyers' interests and if there are any future plans for further protections?
Yeah, I think I can share the three main points as Yikun and also Rachel just mentioned right now, right? So the first one is we really want to control the end-to-end whole life cycle of the trading journey. So for example, we have a lot of sellers on the platform as well. So what means we always need to control the seller's behavior. For example, when they need to send out the orders and dispatch, otherwise you cannot really receive that, right? So this is the first one about the seller's process control. And also on top of that, we also have the SLA service level agreement with all of our logistics partners, which means they can always fulfill on the right time level. And additionally, we have some insurance program because Rachel just mentioned the insurance program as well. So just for reference, our additional insurance program can really cover the cargo damage and loss in case you have any uncertainties or unpredictable issues during this whole transportation. Our additional insurance program will also cover a certain amount, which means your buyer's interest can be well protected, right? And last but not least, we will also have the 24/7 online customer service support team. So which means in case there is any incoming exceptions, you need to really talk with the people. We will always have the customer support team standby to solve all your problems, such as you just mentioned the customer inspections, right? So we need to have somebody really share the status to you on a maybe daily basis to make sure we're aware of your cargo status. Yeah.
Great. Those initiatives and areas we're trying to manage certainly makes a lot of sense to me, and I hope it makes sense to our audience, you as well. Okay, I think we've had a very rich and insightful discussion. We've talked about the pressing challenges and opportunities at the same time when it comes to cross-border shipping, and we understand from Rachel what our buyers are relying on us in terms of efficiency, transparency, and reliability. And I think we've also made clear through this conversation the significant strides we've been making in transforming supply chains for our customers, but we're certainly on an ongoing journey. Rachel, do you have any final comments for us at Alibaba.com Logistics or our logistics partners?
I don't have any additional questions, but it sounds like there are a lot of features that are upcoming that I'm excited to check out. I think at the end of the day, the more data, the more cost information, and the more visibility and tracking you can share with buyers, the more reliable the platform becomes and allows us to sort of consolidate all of our efforts into one platform instead of trying to piecemeal it ourselves. So I really appreciate the efforts that you all are making, and yeah, excited to check out more.
That is certainly our goal and our mandate as well as we continue to work in this area. So thank you everyone for your attention. Please come talk to us if you have any questions or check out our booth at the exhibit hall. We would love to engage with you for any questions or areas we can support you. Thank you.